You may pass another vehicle? A. In a curve or on a hill because the chance is small that another vehicle is coming. B. By using the shoulder of the highway. C. If your lane is next to a solid yellow line and the passing lane is clear ahead. D. None of the above. D. None of the above. You may not pass another vehicle on a hill or in a curve because you cannot see oncoming traffic and may cause a collision. Never pass another vehicle by driving onto the shoulder of a highway. Passing another vehicle by driving over a solid yellow line is prohibited. A driver who is taking a non-prescription drug should: A. Read the labels on the drug before driving. B. Drink alcohol instead. C. Continue to drive regardless of any warning labels. D. Drive only during daylight hours. A. Read the labels on the drug before driving. Many over-the-counter medications can affect your ability to drive safely. If you take medication, even a remedy for colds or allergies that is not prescribed, check the label for warnings about its effects. If you are unsure, ask your doctor or pharmacist about driving while on the medication. What does it mean when you see amber lights flashing on a school bus? A. The bus has just finished loading or unloading children. B. The bus is stopping to load or unload children. Prepare to stop. C. The bus is stalling on the side of the road and you should pass carefully. D. The bus is loading or unloading children and you may proceed slowly. B. The bus is stopping to load or unload children. Prepare to stop. Flashing amber lights on a school bus warn that the bus is about to stop to load or unload children. If you see these lights, prepare to stop for the bus. When its red lights flash, come to a stop before reaching the bus and remain stopped until the red lights stop flashing. If your turn signals fail, you should use fill in the blank to indicate that you are turning. A. Your horn. B. Your headlights. C. Hand signals. D. Your emergency flashers. C. Hand signals. If your vehicle's turn signals do not work, you should use hand signals to indicate when you intend to change direction.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
At night, it is hardest to see. A. Road signs. B. Pedestrians. C. Other motorists. D. Street lights. B. Pedestrians. Compared to signs and other roadside objects, pedestrians are hardest to see at night. This sign means: A. Trucks under 18,000 pounds. Allowed. B. Hill ahead. C. Truck stop ahead. D. No trucks allowed. B. Hill ahead. This sign warns that there is a steep hill ahead. This road sign means: A. You are about to enter a one-way street the wrong way. B. School crossing ahead. C. Do not drive in this lane. D. Traffic turning left on the green light must yield to oncoming traffic. D. Traffic turning left on the green light must yield to oncoming traffic. This sign is used with a traffic signal to tell drivers that left-turning traffic does not have the right of way and must instead wait for oncoming traffic to clear. Which is the most common cause of traffic crashes? A. New drivers. B. Human error. C. Bad weather. D. Bad roads. B. Human error. Crashes often occur when one driver does not see another vehicle or when a driver does something unexpected. Communicate with other drivers on the road to help prevent traffic crashes. Which of the following is true regarding seat belts and child restraints in vehicles? A. You should never place an infant or small child in the front seat of a vehicle with airbags. B. An airbag can be dangerous to an infant or small child, even in a low-speed collision. C. You should always make sure all your passengers are using a seat belt or child restraint. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Before you drive, always fasten your seat belt and make sure all your passengers are using seat belts or child restraints. Studies have shown that if you use seat belts, your chances of being hurt or killed in a traffic crash are greatly reduced. Children age 12 and under should always ride properly restrained in a rear seat. Never put a rear-facing infant restraint in the front seat of a vehicle with a front passenger airbag. On a freeway, you realize you missed your turn or exit. You should A. Make the turn quickly from your lane of travel. B. Stop and back up. C. Continue driving until you reach the next turn, exit, or other location where you can safely turn around. D. Signal other drivers to stop so you can turn. C. Continue driving until you reach the next turn, exit, or other location where you can safely turn around. If you miss your turn or exit, do not back up, but go on to the next turn or exit where you can safely turn around. It is illegal to back up on a shoulder or a freeway. A leaking exhaust system can A. Cause excessive oil use. B. Require your vehicle to have a tune-up sooner than normal. C. Make you drowsy while driving. D. Set grass fires on country roads. When driving in traffic, it is safest to A. Fluctuate your speed to keep alert. B. Drive faster than the flow of traffic. C. Drive slower than the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. Crashes often happen when some drivers go faster or slower than other vehicles on the road. Always try to drive with the flow of traffic, within the posted speed limit. Roads become very slippery? A. When it has been raining for an hour or more. B. The day after it rains. C. For the first 10 to 15 minutes of a rainstorm. D. Right after the rain has stopped. C. For the first 10 to 15 minutes of a rainstorm. Pavement can become very slippery within the first 10 to 15 minutes of a rainstorm because the rain causes oil in the asphalt to rise to the surface of the road. This problem becomes even worse in hot weather. The heat combined with the water causes more oil to rise to the road surface. This sign means A. Steep downgrade. B. Crossroad ahead. C. No right turn. D. Narrow bridge. A. Steep downgrade. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers about an upcoming steep hill. They should adjust their speed accordingly to avoid brake damage or collision. Drinking alcohol and driving is A. A minor traffic safety problem. B. A serious traffic safety problem. C. Safe if you have only had a few drinks. D. Only dangerous to the driver who drinks. B. A serious traffic safety problem. Driving while impaired or intoxicated is a serious traffic safety problem. Safe driving is not possible when you drink alcohol or take other drugs. Driving under the influence is dangerous both to you and to others on the road. Night driving can be more difficult than driving during the day because A. Cars overheat more quickly at night. B. Visibility is reduced in the dark. C. It is more likely to be raining at night. D. You are more likely to encounter a motorcycle at night. B. Visibility is reduced in the dark. At night, your field of vision is reduced. To make sure you are able to react to hazards on the roadway, always use appropriate headlights. Drive slowly enough that you are able to stop within the distance that you can see ahead. If a crossing guard is directing traffic in a school zone, you must A. Follow the directions given by the crossing guard. B. Copy what surrounding traffic is doing, despite the crossing guard's instructions. C. Assume the guard is not supposed to be directing traffic. D. Follow rules that would be in place if no children were present. A. Follow the directions given by the crossing guard. Be prepared to reduce your speed and use caution when directed to do so by a sign, crossing guard, or law enforcement officer. Always drive with extra caution in a school zone. You are involved in an accident and your vehicle is blocking traffic. You should A. Move your vehicle off the traveled portion of the roadway, if possible. B. Not move your vehicle under any circumstances. C. Wait until the police arrive before moving your vehicle. D. None of the above. A. Move your vehicle off the traveled portion of the roadway, if possible. After a minor collision, move your vehicle off the traveled portion of the roadway, if possible. Do not leave the scene of an accident without identifying yourself and rendering assistance. An inattentive driver is a driver who A. Stares at objects off the roadway or daydreams while driving. B. Maintains eye contact during a conversation with a passenger while driving. C. Only watches the vehicle ahead of their vehicle. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Do not become distracted by looking at passengers, attempting to find something in your vehicle, looking at reading material, sightseeing, or daydreaming while driving. Continue scanning the road, checking your mirrors, and looking at the instrument panel at regular intervals. Developing these safe habits will keep you attentive as a driver. A person walking with a white cane or guide dog is likely to be A. A deaf person. B. A person involved with a traffic study. C. A blind person. D. None of the above. C. A blind person. Drivers must always yield the right of way to a pedestrian when the pedestrian is a blind person who is using a white cane or guide dog. A single broken yellow line down the center of a two-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. Yellow lines are used to separate traffic moving in opposite directions. Dashed lines indicate that drivers directly next to the line are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. This sign means A. Watch for bicycles. B. Bicycles not allowed. C. Bicycle repair shop ahead. D. Bicycles have the right of way. A. Watch for bicycles. This sign provides advance warning that bicycles may be present. A stop sign is shaped like a N. A. Rectangle. B. Square. C. Circle. D. Octagon. D. Octagon. An octagonal shape is used only for stop signs. All 8-sided signs tell drivers to come to a complete stop before proceeding. When parking uphill on a hill or incline with a curb. A. Turn your front wheels sharply toward the curb. B. Turn your front wheels slightly to the right. C. Turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. D. Keep your front wheels straight. C. Turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. To keep your vehicle from rolling into traffic when parked facing uphill, turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. If you are parking uphill on a street that has no curb, turn the wheels sharply toward the edge of the road. If a transit vehicle is signaling to re-enter the main roadway following a stop, you must A. Honk to let them know you're there. B. Move to the left lane. C. Yield. D. Speed up to pass. C. Yield. You must yield to any transit vehicle that is signaling to pull back onto the main roadway after it has stopped to load or unload passengers. Change lanes, slow down, or stop to allow the bus safe re-entry into traffic. You are involved in an accident and another person is injured. You should A. Move the injured away from the scene immediately. B. Always leave the injured where they are. C. Not move the injured unnecessarily. Keep the injured warm and administer first aid. D. Stay away from the injured. C. Not move the injured unnecessarily. Keep the injured warm and administer first aid. After an accident, do not move the injured unnecessarily. Unskilled handling can make serious injuries out of minor ones. Keep the injured warm until skilled help arrives. If there is severe bleeding, attempt to stop the flow of blood with direct pressure. Which of the following statements is true? A. A sudden change in weather calls for a change in driving. B. You should slow down when driving in rain and fog. C. Be particularly aware of vehicles coming up behind you in inclement weather. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If the weather changes suddenly, you will need to adjust your driving to adapt. Always slow down when driving in rainy or foggy conditions. Be especially aware of vehicles behind you that may be going too fast for conditions. Increase your following distance when A. Driving behind a large vehicle that blocks your vision. B. Exiting an expressway. C. Following a motorcycle. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You should increase your following distance when you are behind a large vehicle that blocks your vision, when driving in bad weather or heavy traffic, when exiting an expressway, when behind a motorcycle or bicycle, and if someone is tailgating you. The best way to avoid hydroplaning is to A. Keep your tires properly maintained. B. Slow down when roads are wet or slushy. C. Watch out for standing water or puddles. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When roads are wet, cars take a longer distance to stop and may skid on quick turns. Do not use cruise control when driving under wet or icy conditions. Reduce your speed and drive with caution. You are waiting in the intersection to complete a left turn. You should A. Signal and keep your wheels turned to the left. B. Signal and keep your wheels straight. C. Flash your headlights so drivers will let you through. D. Drive around the rear of a car if it blocks you. B. Signal and keep your wheels straight. You must always signal before turning or changing lanes. You should keep your wheels straight while waiting to make a left turn. If another vehicle hits you from behind, this ensures that you will not be pushed into oncoming traffic. While backing, you should A. Rely only on your mirrors. B. Flash your lights. C. Open your door to see if it is safe to proceed. D. Turn your head and look through the rear window. D. Turn your head and look through the rear window. When intending to back up, always check behind your vehicle before getting in. Children and small objects are difficult to see from the driver's seat. While backing, turn your head so you can see through the rear window. Do not depend only on your mirrors or sensors. A yellow light that flashes on and off means A. Stop and look for other vehicles, then go if there is no traffic. B. Stop and wait for a green light. C. Speed up to clear the intersection quickly. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. A flashing yellow traffic light means drivers should slow down and proceed with caution. Guide signs are fill in the blank. Signs that provide directional and mileage information to drivers. A. Yellow. B. Red. C. Green. D. White. C. Green. Guide signs, sometimes known as destination signs, have a green background and provide directional and mileage information to specific destinations. They can be a helpful resource when driving in unfamiliar locations. What should you do when an emergency vehicle is approaching while displaying flashing red or blue lights? A. See if you can reach your destination before the emergency vehicle catches up to you. B. Continue driving but try to stay out of its way. C. Pull over to the side of the road and come to a complete stop. D. Stop in the middle of an intersection. C. Pull over to the side of the road and come to a complete stop. You must yield the right-of-way to all emergency vehicles using a siren, air horn, and/or flashing red, blue, or white lights. Where possible, you must pull over to the right edge of the road. If you are in an intersection, drive through the intersection before you pull over. This road sign means A. All traffic must turn right. B. No right turn. C. All traffic must go straight ahead. D. A road joins from the right. D. A road joins from the right. This sign indicates that there is an intersection ahead. A road joins from the right.